alaikum. Brother Saad actually touched upon what is social media about, what you have to do on a general level, but what I'll be focusing on is the issues that have to do relevant to on finance and takaful as well. So just to get just the basics out of the way is all of the new media channels that have been discovered over the last 2-3 decades had one thing in common. They had a one-to-many approach. That is, they were broadcasting their contents and marketing messages in a unidirectional way. There was no way that people were actually giving back their feedback or commenting or giving their opinions. So all these channels had this kind of approach. So what is social media about? Well, Masad actually has touched upon it mostly, but what actually happened was during in the early 1990s there was this Web 1.1 era where web was a read-only. That means people were only able to read, but there was no way for them to participate. This was actually then transformed into the Web 2.0 era, which is the read and write situation, where people were actually participating and then transforming themselves from being content consumers into content publishers. So this triggered the social media phenomenon, which actually Saad actually touched upon as well. So what's social media all about? We all know it is the group of application or platforms that are actually condensing these conversations over the web. It's not all about Facebook, it's not just Twitter, it's all of these smaller communities that are made to amplify the voices of smaller web communities. So this platforms actually facilitated the transmission of content from users to from one user to another, and then from companies as well in the same manner. This is the main thing today. The social web by itself is by itself the extension of human relationships. We are actually adding our friends, our family members, our colleagues on our LinkedIn or Facebook or things like that. So we actually know those people. We trust them. We trust their views. We trust the contents that they're posting. So that's why we're actually letting them through to our circle of trust. No other media was able to do this in the past. Not TV, no radio, not newspaper, but social media was able to do this. And these social connections are actually, like I said, based on trust. And trust on the web is highly impacted by what people say. That means if I say something that's bad about some brand, then people actually think that that brand is not good. And the same goes when it's a positive notion as well. And this trust element actually forms a major part of the Takaful concept as well, because people actually donate into that pool when they're actually in a trustful trustful connections around them. So this is what brings me to the theme of my presentation today, which is building and creating relationships between Takaful companies and customers. Because, like, come on, Takaful by itself has this mutuality, cooperative spirit in it. And was there any other media that was able to do this in the past? No. So now social media is actually going to help you to do that. So now let's look at some of the pertinent issues that are actually facing the regulated industry, the financial regulated industry, with regards to discussing about social media, which are these 4 points, which is the rising niche communities online, the customer-driven markets, transparency, risk, and regulations. So first, let's look at the rise of niche communities. So now we said the Web 2.0 brought about the social media revolution. So, and this actually, there was a trend where there were niche communities being formed here and there, but now they're being more influential, they're being more vibrant, and they're having their voices heard in a way that has never been heard before. So, for example, there are the world's largest Muslim lifestyle network, which is Muslim, my former employer as well, is home to over 200,000 registered users and gets above 20 to 30 million visitors a year. And these users actually don't come from one place. They come from the US, from the UK, from Southeast Asia, and different places. Ethical financing by itself is also another new concept which is gaining ground and getting a lot of communities under it. The blogosphere is also another big community which is very influential, wherein you'll find a lot of influencers for your brands which can actually be your brand advocates and then talk and do the marketing and do the talking for you instead of you going out and then reaching out to each and every customer. So, these communities are actually bonded by a sense of belongingness. They are connections of people like me. That means I relate to a person in a way, for example, through some kind of background, their interest or some kind of affiliation. So what we are experiencing at the moment is the creation of a huge ecosystem. That is, people want attention to themselves, and social media is actually helping them to do that. And many brands actually on the regulated or unregulated side of industries are actually taking great strides into taking part and engaging with these customers. So, and social media was actually one of the best ways to actually engage with these communities as well. So, there were studies in the past few years that have been working with regards to digital marketing that there are about 150 million Muslims online. It's an estimate, obviously, but that means from 1.5 billion Muslims around the world, 10% of them are online, which is actually a great number. So, but bringing that to make it a bit relevant to my presentation today is targeting it to who are on social networks that are available on the internet. This table actually represents the individual internet populations of different regions. I mean, there could be some variations on the number of Muslim populations of different countries, but the internet penetration rate is what is important. You may say there are 300 million Muslims in the Middle East, but the internet penetration rate is 31.7%, which is quite a big number to actually target when you target in that area. So it also shows the social media adoption rate of each region. For example, how many people are in Middle East who are on the internet use social media, how many of them are in networking, how many of them are communicating. If that's what is giving you an idea about. So let's look at an interesting case of Malaysia. Malaysia, with 17.3 million Muslims, they are the most internet savvy people in the area. They have about 64.6% internet penetration rate. That translates about 11.2 million. And from this also, they are also very socially active as well. They have about 7 million of these people are on social networks. It doesn't mean they're all on Facebook, or it doesn't mean they're all on Twitter and things like that, but they are out there, they are communicating, and they are waiting for brands to actually talk to them. So this is one other case. And another case is also the Middle East. Actually, I don't have to talk about the sheer power of social media in the region with the recent Arab Spring that we have actually just been talking about as well. Some actually talk that it's a social media revolution, but I have a bit of my doubts about that. But nevertheless, it has a great impact in the region. In the morning, Brother Abid was actually telling us that over 50% of the Takaful operators in the region don't have a web presence, and the people that they're missing out is over 60 million people online. So this is also a very big market that they have overstepped. So what should brands actually concentrate on is actually to go out there and listen to the most influential socializers, look at the most popular discussion platforms, and try to engage with these customers. Many have the understanding that social media is only about being on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube. But the underlying truth behind all this is that companies the main aim should be to create relationship with them and trying to convert those customers as your brand advocates, like I said, to do the marketing and do the talking for you.